All right, everybody, and welcome. Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic, and we return for the review of AEW Dynamite for the 20th of May 2020, 5/2020. The go home show to the Double or Nothing pay per view offering, which is this Saturday evening, which is an event that has been hyped very well. Speaking of hyped very well, I hope this channel has been. If you would like, subscribe, comment below. We would really appreciate the help. We're trying to get to help some people that have been through the COVID mess, and once we can monetize this channel, we'll be able to do that. So we can use your help with a subscription here. In any event, we certainly are excited, or I am excited anyway, for the upcoming pay-per-view on Saturday. One thing that AEW does exceptionally well is make their pay-per-view events matter, and they make them count, and they do so in such a manner that you really you don't wonder like you do with WWE whether this is going to be a good show or not. Partially, in great part actually, because they really do try to make every match matter, and there are many matches where I actually care who's going to win and lose. It's been literally ages since maybe a non-WrestleMania or Royal Rumble event in WWE where I cared who was going to win and lose. So that's a good sign that AEW's done in really less than a year of television what WWE hasn't done for me in at least 10. That speaks a lot. Anyhow, so we opened the program with a Double or Nothing hype video highlighting the top few matches. This is well done. And in as much as I don't like video packages, this is the proper place for one. Alex Marvez didn't know he was still employed. He's shown in a parking lot. Limo pulls up, and the Inner Circle exit. And Jericho told Marvez to shut up and promises to hurt the Elite tonight. Obviously, the Elite is coming back, and Brody Lee and the Dark Order come onto the stage area. Tony Schiavone called them a cult, and it's pretty strong language from Schiavone. Obviously, the word cult has been used for many stables over the years, but I don't know that there's ever been an announcer to out and out call them one. Said he was just Brody Lee, that is, says that he's just a man. He says that he is not a god, and that he asked him to kneel, and named him a high knight in the Dark Order. I wonder if that's a sign to the Knights of Templar or Freemasonry, or where they're getting the knight designation. Just an interesting aside for someone that studied cult work. I honestly wonder where they're going with the whole cult concept. Anyway, Lee says that he's come into possession of a special item, the AEW Championship belt, and that he doesn't want to let it go. We open, which would never happen in other places, but it happens here. We open with Moxley versus 10 for the... I don't know that he actually said it was for the championship, but it was allowed to be assumed that it was. I guess it could have been non-title, but Moxley gets a quick win over the challenger. Moxley opens with a knee strike early and then a suplex. 10, whose name I don't particularly care for, with a short cutoff and a spine buster, Moxley makes a comeback after connecting with a DDT and then hits a Gotch style pile driver. Paradigm shift for the win, and then gets the pin. Post match, Moxley puts 10's arm in a steel chair and says that Brody Lee's got a few seconds to get out there. Otherwise, he's going to break the arm. He says he's not going to be a geek and chase him all over the building. And that's the direct shot at the WWE lame, hey, where'd he go? I can't find him mentality. So that's kind of cool that, Jon Moxley making fun of some of the inconsistencies in wrestling. I'd like to see him do a bit more of this on a regular basis. Anyway, Lee said he would, or Moxley said he's going to give Lee an opportunity to make this right, and Moxley then says he's going to break his arm. Um, Lee cuts a backstage promo, says unfortunately some people have to make sacrifices. As a matter of fact, everybody has to make sacrifices right now. Um, Tonight, 10 is the sacrifice, and Lee and the rest of the Dark Order leave the building. Moxley then grabs the chair and takes care of the left arm of um, of 10 in order to send the message home. Now, just a really small style thing. Moxley says, "See you Saturday" before hitting the chair shot. I wish he'd done "See, whack, you, whack, Saturday, whack." 3 chair shots to really drive home that he was meaning business, to do a lot of damage. It's a simple thing, but and maybe some people say less is more, but at the same time, if we assume that 1 chair shot's going to break a guy's arm, then how did the guy stand toe to toe with him for the 3-minute match? You know what I mean? Like, make a little bit more realism here that it takes multiple chair shots to break someone's arm, and maybe he looks a little stronger on the way out. Anyway, there are wrestlers around ringside for this particular, um, you know, broadcast, which honestly is, you know, some people don't like it because of the social distancing thing. At this point, I don't know. I have personal feelings about what the pandemic has and has not been. This isn't the time or place, but if people independently feel comfortable going back to something closer to life as normal, then I say we all have individual freedoms to be let to do that. If people don't feel comfortable doing so, then they should be able to uphold pandemic law and procedures as is seen fit. Anyway, uh, you know, MJF versus Marco Stunt. I hated this. I don't like this. I will never like this. It's one of the things that I disagree with the AEW staff on. I mentioned on Dark last night there is a place for Marco Stunt. He should be a mascot, a midget, or tag team wrestler. He should not be in a strong singles match unless it's with an enhancement talent. And certainly no way should he be with one of the few, if not the only, undefeated talent in the company in MJF. No, 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 no. Stunt gets a few shots in. I don't even like that he's hitting offense here. It's MJF is I flip flop. Darby Allin and MJF to me, and then Sammy Guevara third. The 3 stars that AEW has made since being on television in October. To me, MJF has the biggest upside of the 3. And I know people will disagree. Actually, I'd love for people to comment below. Who do you think has the biggest upside of the 3? History will bear out anyway. It's just going to be fun to watch. But anyhow, you know, Stunt comes in. He hits a couple hope spots. Hits a Shining Wizard, and MJF chops him in the ring skirt. Wardlow interferes, and then MJF hits a shoulder breaker and Salt of the Earth submission for the win. But the thing is, this kid's like 115 pounds. There's no way that his offense should have gone against a guy who obviously has the pedigree of being able to study as much footage as he wants, stream as he wants, whatever. And if he's fighting Jungle Boy at the pay-per-view, who's larger, then if he can barely handle Stunt, and I'm not saying it was made to look like he could barely handle him, but if Stunt can get enough offense that now Jungle Boy should look like he should be able to beat MJF, I don't support this at all. MJF should be protected. I honestly think he should be the one to take the belt off Moxley after a several months chase, but neither here nor there. Regardless, if you got an undefeated guy, he should be protected. MJF cuts a promo, says he feels bad for Stunt and thought about offering him one of his rats here in Jacksonville. But then he then says he believes that no one would ever kiss Marco. Maybe they're going to have Marco in a romance storyline. Now, that would be interesting. That at least gives him a character. And then, he puts the dynamite ring on and punches Stunt in the mouth. At least he gets some of his heat back here. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy run out for the save, and MJF and Wardlow bail. Shivani's in the ring to moderate the face-to-face between Jake Roberts and Arn Anderson. Man, I could listen to both these guys talk all day long. Anyway, Roberts and Anderson maybe they're still in the process of getting themselves over a little too much. Although I don't agree. I mean, with the AEW audience, legends, as few as they are, coming out and nostalgia, putting themselves in a position of authority, I don't think this audience is going to mind it. Matter of fact, I think this audience would embrace it. Some people would say that that Cody and Archer need the rub of Jake and Anderson talking for them. I would argue that it's been built well enough with the commercials and the pay-per-view commercials and the way that both guys have been treated over the past few weeks that Jake and Arn taking the spotlight for themselves here really shouldn't matter all that much. Anyway, Roberts says that it was surreal to sit across from Arn, said he was glad Arn didn't bring as many people as he could have with him. Roberts asks Anderson, or Roberts says rather, that Archer's going to destroy Cody. I don't find this believable, but anyway, and he makes fun of Arn's age. There isn't that much of a difference, less than 10 years between the two, so I don't quite understand that. And he makes fun of Arn's weight, which, Arn does not look healthy. Regardless, Arn looks blown up. Maybe if I survive to be 70, really hope I don't, but if I do, maybe I'll look miserable too. Anyway, Arn said that this is a big deal for him. He says Roberts used to have credibility. He then says the snake in the bag was almost just as a distraction, and the real damage was what he saw in Jake's eyes. Good line here. Arn then says Jake needed to worry about Mike Tyson. Now here's where I think they could have, built history up. I think it was 82 or 84 in Mid-South. Jake takes a punch from Tyson. Jake could have simply slid in one line and said, I've been waiting 35 years to get my hands on Mike Tyson. And long-term fans would have appreciated that because they would have remembered. For fans that didn't know, they're not going to care. They're not going to care. No, that was Muhammad Ali, come to think of it. I'm completely misremembering, and that's ignorant. But even, maybe Jake says something like, I've been waiting 20 years to get my hands on Tyson. Tyson's considered one of the best boxers of all time, but I think I'm a better fighter. I still think he could have said something to the effect of wanting to get his hands on Mike Tyson, and because I assume that somebody's going to take a punch from Tyson, it should be someone like Jake who can make it look like $1 million without getting hit hard. So I mean that's where I would go with it, and then Tyson says he will have a few. He has free reign, and then he says Archer can knock out Tyson, and that he wasn't worried. Jake said Cody sacrificed his own brother, and Jake then says that he was hoping Brandy would get involved, taking personal shots at Brandy to get that part of the story over, which was, dark but good. Dark but good. Arn responded that Cody and crew had turned business on its ear and he isn't afraid of Lance Archer. Arn said he heard Jake was doing DDP yoga. He said that's good, and Jake will be limber when he spinebusters him on Saturday. Jake stands up and gets ready to leave. He overturns the table before he does. Refs run out, and Anderson and Jake are held apart. I assume there's going to be some physical contact between the two on Saturday. Hopefully it's kept to 30 seconds because neither guy needs to be doing a whole lot. Darby Allin hype video aired. He is playing poker against the cardboard cutouts of the ladder match. I assume Darby. It would make sense that Darby wins the ladder match here. Anyway, we move on to Pac sending in a video promo where he swore to go after Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Some people like Pac. He's good in the ring if he's with the right guy. But at the same time, him not being on the program hasn't been that big a deal to me. And I won't say I forgot he was part of the company, but he was reasonably forgettable in not being around. Rey Fenix and Orange Cassidy's up next. Cassidy has what I consider to be one of the best matches I've seen him in. I haven't seen that many, but really decent match here. They worked really hard and had a great match. And he is. Fenix tries to attack early and get him on the stage. Cassidy sidesteps. Cassidy using smarts. At one point, one of the announcers, I forgot who, but announced that Cassidy's been around for 16 years. That's just amazing when you look at the guy. He looks like he's straight out of college. I guess he's aged well. Cassidy did, the pockets thing. Fenix nails a springboard leg drop and then worked over the head and neck of his opponent. Strikes and chin locks and all that basic stuff. Match goes through a commercial break. Cassidy comes up with palm strikes and a Superman punch. Cassidy hits a top rope maneuver and then a crossbody off the top and a tornado DDT for near fall. A lot of people didn't know that Cassidy has this in him, so this is good to see. Cassidy hits a diving DDT off the top rope for near fall. Fenix hits a sunset bomb off the top for near fall of his own. Fenix then with a muscle buster finisher, but Cassidy rolls through and into a cradle for a near fall of his own. I mean, just countering Fenix's muscle buster shows that Orange Cassidy has wrestling skills that most fans didn't think he has. I think this was phenomenal. It doesn't hurt Fenix that there was a counter. Counters can happen, but it really does help Cassidy gain credibility. Kip Sabian comes out on the ramp of the ladder. If you listened to my review of Dark last night, guy they could get rid of and I wouldn't care. Distracts the referee. Fenix hits a low blow and then uses a cutter for the pin. I mean, you knew that Fenix was going to win here. There wasn't a reason to have Kip out there unless they're tying in the ladder deal. Wild Brawl after the match, and they hype up the ladder match, which is exactly what this finish was for. SCU comes out. They toss Sabin off the ladder and into the ring. Jimmy Havoc went after SCU. Please tell me they're not going to waste SCU in a feud with Havoc and Sabian, because that would make me really, really sad. Fenix undershoots a springboard senton and takes a hard crash to the floor. Ouch for the tailbone. Colt Cabana runs out and he hits a moonsault. I mean, the brawl does what it's supposed to do, get you hyped for the ladder match, but I would rather have just seen each guy come out climb the ladder and signal for the championship belt and all these spots on a show that's really a throwaway show. Save yourself for the pay per view, but that's just me. Uh, Ball breaks up before the next match. Nyla Rose and Britt Baker. What an odd combination. Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. Statlander does the boop thing on her way out. As I mentioned last week, they need to somehow, some way, someday figure out how to explain her alienness in a compelling way that people will care about. Shida looks decent enough in the match. Anyone defeat Nyla Rose for that women's championship, please. I don't get it. I don't like her. She shouldn't be the champion. Sheeta being the champion wouldn't bother me. Britt Baker being the champion wouldn't bother me. Priscilla Kelly wouldn't bother me. I don't care who it is, but Nyla Rose should not be it. Anyway, so Rose blocks a double suplex and takes control of the match early. She hits a pounce, which looked pretty brutal, admittedly. She hits a leg drop for a near fall, and then Rose and Baker works over Statlander through a commercial break. Statlander misses badly on Enziguri, which doesn't look good. Baker sells it anyway because it set up the tag to Shida. Shida, who looks amazing, and I don't know how much English she speaks, but I'm hoping somebody can work with her because she is talented. The fact that she's been number one contender for 12 weeks is something they raise. So if she loses at the pay-per-view, it's really going to be a momentum killer. I guess it would put Nyla Rose over strong, but I don't know what you get by doing that. Anyway, Shida hits a vertical suplex on Baker, and then double suplex on Rose onto her partner, and then Baker crawls to her corner, examined by ringside doctor, but this, looks to be overkill hyperbole, and Baker looked to be fine. Statlander hits Rose with a face buster. Shida hits a missile dropkick for a near fall. Shida goes for Michinoku driver, but Nyla Rose blocks it, obviously. Rose hits a beast bomb on Shida and pinned her. I guess if the visual pin in the tag match leads to Shida winning at the pay-per-view, I guess I can get behind it, but it's not the way I would have done it. Anyway, Rose sets Shida up on the table after the match. She teases a splash, and Statlander saved her partner, and then Shida hits a superplex on Rose through the table. I still think Shida should have won the contest, but that, I don't know. That was just a mistake. Alex Marvez interviews Jon Moxley backstage. Moxley explained that everything in sports is business, and eventually things reduce to violence. He compares somebody not wanting to do something and then leading to violence, and Brody Lee not wanting to give back his championship belt, leading to violence this coming Saturday at the pay-per-view. Shawn Spears interrupts the show. Spears sans Tully Blanchard sits at a news desk and announced that Dustin Rhodes has retired, but then he challenges him later in the same segment. Spears then went on to he can't even crack the top 5 rankings, but he's about to. Says he should have a match at Double or Nothing, but doesn't have one. He then challenges Rhodes to a match. Really wasted segment. Anyway, Shida and Rhodes is announced as no count out, no DQ. So I guess they're going to do Plunder to cover the facts that Rose isn't that good. Announcers preview the pay-per-view. The Stadium Stampede is explained that they're going to brawl all around the stadium. Battle Royal was announced for next week. Winner will face the TNT champion on the first Dynamite in June. Guevara and Hardy match hype airs, and the main event is up next. They question the Elite's involvement with the match coming up at the Stadium Super Brawl thingamajigger. Hardy. I mean, Hardy is a creative guy. He has the best match he can possibly have, but matching him up with Sammy Guevara shows a major flaw in a lot of what goes on, which is Matt Hardy can't go the way he used to go, and it's noticeable here. He has a decent enough match, but Guevara had to slow down to accommodate him. You know, it's kind of sad, really, that Hardy's holding on to being something. Hardy uses a bunch of gimmicks and smokes and mirrors. They brawl around the building and into the barricade. There's posting going on the outside. Hardy goes for Twist of Fate. Guevara hits a handspring out of it, and Hardy hits a high kick. Hardy comes back with an inverted DDT. Hardy teases a razor's edge, and Guevara escaped. At this point, Jim Ross talks about knowing the Hardys since they were teenagers. Actually mentions the Dudleys and Edge and Christian during commentary during the match on the competition show, which is, interesting. Also, I did want to point out, Tony Khan is a class guy. The passing of Shad Gaspard is pretty well known by everybody, and it was acknowledged by Jim Ross on the broadcast. So, I mean, not that I should be terribly surprised, but there are many wrestling companies where the death of talent that never worked there wouldn't be done, but they did it here, which I respect. Anyway, they go through the commercial break. Guevara hits they go to hospital, but Hardy slid out and hits a Twist of Fate, rolls to the outside. Knee strike from Guevara and a near fall there. Guevara lands on his feet after missing a shooting star press. Hardy hits a Twist of Fate, but only gets a near fall. Too many Twist of Fate attempts / uses here, and it's kind of killing the finish. But at this point, Hardy's getting to the end of the career, so maybe he doesn't care. By this point, though, Guevara hits another knee, and they're killing knee strikes too, which is just sad because those could be finishes if used right. Guevara hits a springboard cutter for a near fall. Hardy gets the knees up on a shooting star and cradles Guevara for a near fall. Hardy hits like the fourth or fifth Twist of Fate of the match and gets the victory. Hardy brings a chair into the ring post-match. Jericho appears on the screen. He says the Inner Circle had Kenny Omega pinned, and the goal post to the goalpost of the stadium. They go outside. Jericho is cutting a promo but has no audio. Young Bucks appeared. Hangman Page appears. Brawl between the Elite and the Inner Circle breaks out. Hangman Page sprints the length of the football field and in making his return. That's about the most he did. He walks off on his own before the brawl ends. The Elite pose together to close the show. Good go-home show for the pay-per-view. I don't think they could have done much better. I care about almost every match on the event, and the Battle Royal for next week, although I'm not a fan of Battle Royals, I'm interested storyline where that goes. And yet again, AEW proves to be the best national wrestling program available right now, although I am going to review NXT in a little bit here, and they weren't nearly as bad as they could be or often are. And actually, NXT is the best of the three brands in WWE right now, and they were, for the most part, neck and neck with AEW this week. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment below if you like what we're doing here, and until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.